Hey guys, welcome back to another Now recording. And today we're going to start with the alphabetical videos going through my collection. We're going to start with A, which would make sense, I think. It's still the first letter of the alphabet. So we got about, 10 to 12 records that with artists that begin with A. So we're going to go through that. Of course, a lot of letters are going to have a lot more, and so I'll split those up so they're not too long. And we'll just kind of go through them here. Again, this is a mix of stuff that my parents gave me, and we're going to talk about that as well as stuff that I bought. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So record number one, let me get this in the shot here. ABBA Greatest Hits Volume 2. And you can guess that, well, maybe you can't guess. I did not buy this. This is from my parents. I have not put this on. Obviously, ABBA, a gigantic group in the 70s and 80s. Not really my thing, but, maybe someday I'll have a party or something where we can throw this on. I mean, it has Dancing Queen. It has songs I've heard of, but this is not something I have yet listened to. It's a gatefold, so there's the lovely ABBA. Look at that suit. Wow. And then this guy. Just not a care in the world. Running around town. But pretty cool packaging. So that is ABBA's Greatest Hits. Now moving on. This was my father's. This is the first Aerosmith record, which I actually have not put this on either. I'm not the biggest Aerosmith fan either. I don't know. I mean, being from Boston and living around Boston, like, they're treated like, it's just ridiculous the way that they're treated. You'd think that they are the Beatles, and they're not. So maybe it's a little bit of resentment towards just the local pride around these guys. I mean, they're fine. There was a day a little while back where they shut down the city so that they could play a concert on Commonwealth Ave in the Allston neighborhood of Boston, where they, in front of the building they used to live. So they shut down all the traffic on Com Ave, which is a major street in Boston. It's just ridiculous. This has got, let me lift this up, Dream On, Mama Ken. This is their first record. It's really funny too that everyone around here, of a certain age, has a story about hanging out with him and stuff like that. It's so ridiculous. Everyone who is 50 and up has some story that they partied with Aerosmith one time, and it's just kind of funny. This is an example of the sleeves that you see in these old records that are often, the inner sleeve. There's in this case, there's information about Paul Simon, Chicago. Let's see what's on the back. Sometimes if I put an old album on and this is there, I'll just read it, which is pretty interesting. Sometimes they're ads, so sometimes it's it's an ad with a thing that you can cut out to buy more records from whatever it was, this Columbia, I guess. So it's kind of interesting. Something newer. Alabama Shakes, Boys and Girls, and then I recently picked this up, Alabama Shakes, Sound and Color. So Boys and Girls was the first album. Sound and Color is the second album that came out fairly recently. Boys and Girls came out a few years ago. Alabama Shakes has a kind of a soft spot for my wife and I because we used a song from this album for our first dance at our wedding last summer, which is really cool. It was I Found You, which is the second song on side one. And then this is an example, actually, I'm an idiot because I didn't even know that this was in here. So it came with a 45. That's cool. I did not know that. I don't know how I missed that. I've definitely put this on. Neat. Well, I will add this to my 45 collection. Pocket Change Mama, and then Heavy Chevy. Are these on here? No. So cool. So this is just other songs. That's really cool. And then here's an example. You saw this with the Courtney Barnett video, or the new Pickups video, just the download card. I actually already had this album. But I should check this out anyway because Sometimes I had this album on MP3 that someone gave it to me, and then someone bought me this vinyl as a gift, which was nice. But I recently got Wilco Star Wars, the new Wilco album, which they actually gave away for free online, but they put it out on vinyl. I bought the vinyl, and it came with a download card, and it came with like a second. It came with all the songs on the album, but then it also came with a whole live set from like a show they did in Chicago last year, which is pretty cool that they would do that. So sometimes there's extra stuff on those download cards, even if you have the CD or whatever, to make sure to check out. So that is really neat that it came with that. Alabama Shakes are, my wife's not really, into vinyl or anything. She kind of tolerates it. Nice gatefold here. But this isn't a band where I actually bought this for her. So she has a few vinyls of her own that I'm basically co-opting and saying they're mine. And then this one's just a clear vinyl. This is an example of a different colored vinyl. This one's clear. I don't think this is a special edition. I think they just came this way. I could be wrong about that, but just kind of an example. But Alabama Shakes, really good band, new band. They've gotten a lot more notoriety recently. I think they performed at the Grammys this year, which is pretty big for a band like that. So they're really good. That's cool. And the 45 is funny. I actually recently got this too, and I thought about doing a pickups video with this, but it just this was a couple of months ago now, so I figured I'd start fresh. But this is by a guy called Alex G. The album is called Beach Music, which is really kind of off kilter, but pretty cool. Here's the record. Songs that I would definitely recommend. It's kind of like it sounds like 90s alternative a little bit, except like turned on its head. It's just a little out there. Some of the songs are but I really like that kind of stuff. Kicker. Where is it? Bright Boy. Snot. Side 2, track 7, Snot. That's awesome. So this is a really interesting listen, and that's not to mean it's a good listen. It came with a little insert and lyric sheet, which sometimes they do. So Alex G, this album came out I think last year, so I would recommend that as I struggle to put the materials back in. Oh boy, gotta be careful with these. My fear is always like ripping something or whatever. Okay, here we go. All right. Sorry, that took a while. I'm still fiddling with it. Okay. Moving on. Again, from my father's collection, iconic. Eat a Peach, Allman Brothers. Look at that art. I mean, that's really, really cool. Just like the different, like so much went into that. And this is the kind of stuff, like you could look at this for hours, as I'm sure many people who are on drugs did. But CDs, it just doesn't come across. And I'm sure that when everything switched to CDs, obviously the sound quality on CDs is probably better. They're more compact, obviously, in the name of the CD. But you lose this kind of stuff. The gatefold. You really do. And then there's not even a sleeve in this one. So that got lost along the way at some point, but it's a double vinyl. There's a sleeve on that one. And then this must just be a poster, which is pretty cool. Allman Brothers Eat a Peach poster with, just the songs and who wrote them and stuff like that. See, sometimes there's interesting things on the notes. Sound engineering by Mike Callahan, Twigs, and Tuffy. I'm sure those guys were healthy. So that is Eat a Peach. I mean, and it's funny with the Allmans. I was never really that into the Allmans. I'm still not, and I should give them a fair shake. I mean, this. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know their big songs are Whipping Post and Melissa, I think. But that's really all I know about them, other than that they played together for like 50 years and stuff. But I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't. It's kind of like the Doors for me. I just never really bothered too much with it. But I have this. I might as well listen to it, right? That's the way I feel about it. And then here's another one. Allman Brothers at Fillmore East. Capricorn, I think, is the name of the record label. It's a live album. I think this is a double album too. What's on there? Whipping Post is an entire side. That's interesting. In this 2-record set, side 1 is backed with side 4 and side 2 is backed with side 3. Recorded live at the Fillmore East, 1971. See if there's anything cool in here. It's again missing a sleeve on that one. I mean, again, iconic. I mean, look at the picture. Look at these guys. Pretty cool. So that's another one. Maybe I'll toss on soon. This is, if you can guess, History, America's Greatest Hits. The Horse with No Name band. Again, no sleeve. You know, what's going on? Mom and Dad, come on. A Horse with No Name, obviously. I actually don't even know any of their other songs. It's kind of funny. This is an example, like Horse with No Name, I remember like downloading MP3s and when you were in college or even in high school, you know, like early 2000s, mid 2000s, and they'd be mislabeled. So you would get, they would always say Horse with No Name by Neil Young. It's like, it's not Neil Young. You would see Walking in Memphis by Bruce Springsteen, which my friend Brian has a really funny story about that. Fish would be like Gin and Juice by Fish, and it would be like, you know, Yonder Mountain String Band or something. So you would come across that kind of stuff all the time. And Horse with No Name, like I always think about, it's obviously a really famous song, but it's always attributed to Neil Young on those MP3s. It is not Neil Young. It is America, which are these guys. I assume they look like that. So it's them. A couple more. Asia. This is actually one of my first records that I ever bought. I bought this in college, long before I had a record player, and I found it at, it's probably all junked up. I mean, it probably doesn't even play, although it actually looks to be in decent shape. I've never put it on. But I found this at a Salvation Army in Providence, Rhode Island when I was going to school down there. And I bought it because it's a gag. You know, Asia, look at the poster or look at the cover with the dragon and the orb, the glowing orb. You know, I bought it as a joke. And this is before I saw like 40-year-old version where he jokes about the Steve Carell having a framed Asia poster. I was in front of that by buying this as a joke for $1 at Salvation Army in Providence, Rhode Island. So I had this on my wall in my bedroom for a while, like as a joke again. There's a couple other records. There's a Billy Ocean record that we'll come across eventually that I did that too. And then, you know, well, I'm actually listening to records now. I might as well throw this on the bookshelf with the other ones, but I've never actually put this on. I think Heat of the Moment's on this. I mean, that was a big song. I think Only Time Will Tell was a single. Wildest Dreams, I think Taylor Swift covered that. 1982. So yeah. And then here's the last one. This is Archers of Loaf, All the Nation's Airports, which is a great album. This is kind of an example. I bought this like, you know, pretty early into my vinyl buying days. I have this on MP3. And that's why I bought it on vinyl. This is the kind of thing, to be honest, not that I don't like this album, I do a lot, but I would not pay full price for an album like this at this point. You know, just because it's an album I really do like, but it's not like, it's not my favorite album of all time or anything, and it was expensive. And you know, I think at the time where I started to buy vinyl, I was just so excited about buying vinyl that any album I liked, I would just buy on vinyl. I try not to do that so much anymore with the old stuff. I try to buy new stuff I don't have in other formats. I mean, if it's my favorite stuff ever, like if I come across, like recently I did the Black Star album, Mos Def and Talib Kweli on vinyl, which I had never seen before. I bought it right away. I mean, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. I really like this album, but not that much. So I probably wouldn't buy it now, but again, it's not to say anything about its quality. I mean, it's a great record. I think this was reissued. This is a reissue. This came out in 2012. Here's the band playing cards and performing. Let's see. I don't think there's anything too crazy about this one. Just a nice sleeve. Information about like the story about making the album. So there's actually a lot to kind of read. Like some sleeves just obviously are just white, they have nothing on them, but this one does not. And then actually this is an example of a clear vinyl as well, which I forgot about because it's been a little while since I put this on, but I should listen to this too. So that is the A's, not too many, but B's, I mean, I might even do just a separate one for the Beatles, because I have so many Beatles records. I'll just keep something in frame while I talk. And then there's just a lot of B's and the letters like M and stuff like that. There's just a ton. So I'll figure it out. I'll probably just do 10 or something. So maybe it'll be like BA to BE. Who knows? I don't know, whatever. But I will see you then. Thanks a lot, guys.